Hello, testing. Well, I don't know if anybody can hear me. So I'm going to pull up the stream here, see if I can hear myself. Or if you can hear the Magic School Bus going on in the background. You never know. All right. Sounds like the sound's all right on this stream. All right. Well, hello, welcome. I am Dark Sheep, Matthew. Welcome. I'm gonna draft some Underdog best ball drafts tonight. Maybe a few of you will join in. Right. So I have been currently entering the Bunt contest. They also have the Dinger, which is a $25 entry. I have decided this year that I'm just going to focus on doing the Bunt because I like drafting and I can draft more with $5 entries. So we are currently 33.2% full. Definitely keep an eye on these for any overlay that might pop in. I don't need this anymore. All right. Let's see. Maybe we just tweet this out. Or we get started here. Unless anybody has any questions. I guess if you're watching this after the fact and you don't really know the format, we will talk a little bit about that. So the Underdog best ball format is a little bit different than some of the other higher stakes and fan tracks and NFBC and all that sort of thing. You have, let's swear here. Here is your roster. Each week, you have these people scoring. You have 3 pitchers, 3 infielders, 3 outfielders, and 1 flex, which is made up of an infielder or an outfielder. It does not include the pitcher. And you have 10 bench spots that aren't scored, which means that, I guess not, this is different than last year. There was not a flex spot, and the draft was only, the draft was 18 rounds compared to 20. We're going to jump in here. Maybe their one won't be full, so I can talk. Waiting for 4 people, so just pop back over here. Talk about the format a little more. So yeah, it was 18 rounds. They have added the flex spot and added 2 more rounds to the draft, which is kind of fun if you want to get a little bit deeper. I know for some of the people that play like that really deep leagues, this might be kind of baby game for them, especially because you have infielders and outfielders. You don't have positions and all that, but I think it's the most fun or more fun just because it's just more casual and fun. Excuse me. Can do slow drafts if you want. So waiting for 3 people. Maybe talk a little bit about scoring. Scroll past that. So for pitchers, the important thing to realize about pitchers is that they do not get docked points like if you're used to playing, say, DraftKings scoring for daily fantasy. They get negative points for hits and walks and stuff allowed. But in this case, pitchers only have negatives for, they have a -3 for earned run. So you can target some people that might give up hits and walks and stuff, but tend to get out of them a little more than you can on like your daily fantasy sites. I guess I think FanDuel is like this also. I don't really play there though, so I think that's true. So yeah, like FanDuel though, you do have quality start points, and you have wins, strikeouts, and innings pitched. So the big thing that brings you points throughout the season is the strikeouts and the innings pitched. So a lot of the time, some of my strategy with like the mid-level pitchers is to target guys that either will max out on one of those, someone who can get a lot of strikeouts, or also somebody that can just pitch innings, even if they don't get a lot of strikeouts or they're on a bad team, so they won't get a lot of wins or quality starts. But those are sort of like some of the glue pitchers that can hold you through with injuries. So yeah, we got 2 people waiting for 2. While we wait for 2 more, my dog will come say hello, maybe. Nope. Just checking Twitter here for any news. Looks like no more big news coming on. So yeah, if maybe I should go out there and tweet that I am live on the different sites too. Because it looks like it only tweeted out that I am live on Twitter, which can't chat on Twitter. So we're waiting for one person. Kind of disappointing that these aren't flying faster, but you know, everybody likes their super flex and NFL and all that stuff that I just like baseball. So I'm one of those weirdos. But I do think the format here, it looks like we're starting. I do think the format here is fun, and it's really casual, and even if you're not a huge baseball fan, you can have a few lineups going. Right, we got the 3rd pick, which is an interesting pick. Generally, you'll notice I have my rankings here set up, which are basically the setup is the setup for my rankings is I basically take the Fangraph season-long projections done by Derek Hardy with the Bat and Bat X, convert those into the scoring format, which we got Brandon in here, B-Sol, the red badge of courage. Thanks for jumping in here, Brandon. Good luck to you. Yeah, the 3rd pick is kind of interesting. If you look at ADPs, Juan Soto is pretty clearly the first pick in ADP, almost always. And I definitely have his projection. It's miles ahead. Not miles. It's ahead of everybody by a good amount. The only thing is Tatis, who. All right, we're going to do something here. I am going to go with my favorite start, Mookie Betts. I will draft him pretty much anywhere, but I kind of have a plan here. Taking him this early, we'll see if it happens. I doubt it. But one thing we'll get into as we do these, outfielder gets thin pretty quick. So I tend to take an outfielder in the first round. But as far as first picks go, I think probably the best two picks are Soto, and I will hear an argument for Tatis because he has some upside in that his projections factor in him being potentially injured with his separated shoulder and stuff that took him out sometimes last year. So yeah, I'm not high on anybody else in the first pick personally. But yeah, I have a lot of Mookie Betts. I probably didn't need to take him third here, and I should have been different. But I have a plan that I would like to see. It won't happen, but we'll see. Let's see here. See if we can get somebody in here in the chat. All right. Let's get up with our picks here. We've got, as you can see, a lot of other people. A lot of other people are in on the outfielder being important in the early rounds. That's not like a secret or anything that I'm sharing here. DeGrom goes before Cole here, which usually Cole goes first. In terms of pitchers, Garrett Cole usually goes first. Some people are still a little bit leery of DeGrom and the injury potential coming off of last year. But if you're doing a bunch of these drafts, I think you definitely want some exposure to him. So usually Cole doesn't make it out of the first round, so that's interesting. Looks like my plan is not going to happen. I was hoping we could somehow push Freddie Freeman back. There's like enough of rumors saying that he might go to the Dodgers that I've been, and I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but I've been trying to get a couple of starts where I get to go Mookie and then Freddie. So I think that'd be a great combo. We can get into stacking and stuff later. If you want, there's a really nice Twitter thread that baseball on Twitter, baseball _ I think is his name. He did some good analysis on stacking from all right. So I will now know that anytime that I'm drafting with Brandon here that Freeman is not going to get by him, which it shouldn't. All right. So Cole, Burns, a couple of pitchers off the board. We look at my rankings. We've got Devers at the top, Alonso, Machado. So usually my strategy here is to go for another outfielder. I like to have 2 stud outfielders. So you'll probably notice if you look at my outfielders that they're quite different than ADP. We have two guys down here, and even Tasker Hernandez to some extent. Luis Robert. Never going to pronounce his name right, but I think it's Robert. And Jordan is off the board. So we are going to go. So yeah, I like these four guys based on projections over some of these other guys that go earlier. So I am going to go for a pitcher here instead, and I will get one of the outfielders that I prefer back on this next bit. But I was hoping Yordan Alvarez would slip to us, but he did not. So we'll take some Max Scherzer. Usually I don't take him at all. It never really lines up, but seems like pitchers might last a little bit in this draft. We'll see. Just based on Cole not going in the first round, these top pitchers might last a little bit longer. Yeah, so like here we see Robert from further down in my queue go. I have nothing against Luis Robert. I just he projects less, so I'm a pretty big slave to bat projections when it comes to baseball fantasy. So that's just how I roll. All right. So yeah, there goes Springer. Trying to think if we want Machado here, or if maybe we want to get a little silly here. Let's go a little silly. Let's take two stud pitchers to start, and now we're going to lay off pitchers for a while. So when it comes to the structure of your lineup, I haven't done any of the math, and it's kind of hard to do the math because we don't have a ton of data on this format, and the format changed from last year even. But in general, you want to shoot for like a baseline of 8 pitchers, 5 infielders, and 5 outfielders. Or 6, sorry. That was last year. Last year, you wanted to shoot for 8 pitchers, 5 infielders, and 5 outfielders. This year, the baseline is 8 pitchers because you're still only filling 3 pitcher spots each week, and then 6 infielders and 6 outfielders. And like other like NFL, you can go fragile, hyper fragile, whatever you want at any of those positions and take more at other ones, but that's sort of the consensus baseline. All right, so we got 13 picks away. Maybe we'll just, while we wait here, we'll pop over to hitter scoring, because there's one thing I think that is kind of lost on a lot of people that are playing this format, especially if they're coming from like traditional roto style drafting and season long, because in roto style you have stolen bases as their own category, and when you look at how the ratio of certain things in hitting here, the single and the double, well, the double in particular is worth 6, whereas a stolen base is only worth 4. And home runs by far are 10. So while you don't have nothing for a stolen base, you still get a decent, you get more than a hit, more than a walk. The thing is, you're not scoring like in a good ratio to doubles and home runs, where if you're coming at this from like a roto standpoint, like I said, you're going to want to target guys that get stolen base because that's a category you have to win on its own. And in this case, you could get 0 stolen bases. So that's why guys like here, Cedric Mullins, or if we go back to the start of the draft, Trey Turner in the first round, I think are like overvalued because these guys are in like people's headspace where, oh, these guys get stolen bases. That's good. It's not bad, but it's not as good as you would expect it to be. So that's my theory. I'd love to hear more people say that. So, like I said, when I was taking, when we decided to take Wheeler last pick, I knew that some of these guys that I like as second outfielders would come back, and potentially Paul Goldschmidt would come back, which I think we're going to take Paul here if he makes it to us. Because there's some good value on the St. Louis stack in the later rounds. I don't really have, without really getting into stacking and stuff too much, it's just my preferred up there Paul goes. So pretty classic here. Go by outfielders. I'm going to go with Joey Gallo, who has batting average issues, but like, he has batting average issues, which doesn't matter. We just want home runs. You'll see that a lot in my outfielder guys, and even some of the old hitters that I like to take at the end. So yeah, here we go. Nez, who does some streaming and some videos himself. As he says here, SB is pretty hard to project too. Definitely not something to bank on when you're thinking about taking a guy. So yeah, and I don't know if people know that they're doing it, or even like it's that big of a thing in their head, but I do feel like people overvalue guys that are traditionally good because of stolen bases. All right, so we got Joey Gallo here, and we get Stanton back, so we got a nice little Yankee stack starting here. I will say that my projections, aka the Bats projections, are not super high on like the value of some of the other pieces of the Yankee stack, but getting those two guys together is awesome. And we can always ignore the rankings projections and maybe grab like a boring pick like Gleyber Torres later to finish like a 3 stack there. All right, so at this point, I like to go and start building my queue here so I don't forget people. So I like to hit up these first teams that I start in the first few rounds, and I like to go and add to my queue all of the guys on that team that I'm happy taking by the end of the draft. So we'll add the Dodgers here. I haven't gotten much AJ Pollock. I was deep in on AJ Pollock last year, and he's probably going to go off this year now, but all right. And then we'll do the Yankees here. We'll hit up Gleyber, DJ, Luke Voigt. I don't really love any of these guys at the end. I mean, the Yankees have to add somebody, right? They can't. This can't be their lineup. Like it's fine, it's good, but they need, like, they can't bank on DJ coming back, bouncing back, and Gleyber just is Gleyber at this point. So And I mean, I've seen a lot of people talk about Luke Voigt, and by a lot of people, I mean like the two people that talk about Underdog Fantasy, and I just don't see the Yankees keeping him. Which, if they do, he's a fine pick. Yeah, so Nez was with me last year. He had a lot of Pollock. When he's healthy, he's awesome. Agree. How did Bellinger already take? Yeah. Bellinger's ADP is kind of ridiculous for a guy who batted terribly last year. Nez is with me here again. Yeah, I think they upgraded first base. And if they don't, I mean, I don't even know that I want Luke Voigt then, but we'll see. All right. So I don't know what's going on here. I'm assuming Brandon's going to take him, but this is pretty insulting to Jose Abreu. Oh no, Brandon goes with the first pitcher of his team. He's all on board this outfielder plan. He's got my favorite third or fourth outfielder, Mitch Haniger, who's just going to rake this year. If he's healthy, that's the caveat on everybody, though. All right, Luis Castillo is gone. Dunk 15 US. Definitely going to take Jose Abreu and ruin this for us. All right, perfect. All right, so here's where we are going to jump my queue and take some Max Muncy to build our Dodgers stack. I believe the queue or the projections currently assume that he is, going to miss some time with injury recovery and that kind of stuff. They're saying he's going to be ready for opening day. Don't know what that means exactly, but I'm definitely not tied to my projections that hard that I can't go ahead if I want somebody. You'll see if I do more of these streams, you'll see Jonathan India and Rhys Hoskins and Joey Votto at the top of my queue a lot. All right, Brandon Lowe is gone, so I want to fill in another power outfielder here. We will take Franmil Reyes, who's next in my queue. We will get decent value. Like all the outfielders have been going up in cost in terms of ADP for the most part at the top here. But that's pretty good to get a little value on him there. I don't know where he's at a week or so ago when I started. But yeah, he can just hit home runs. He doesn't matter what the Cleveland lineup is like around him. I'm just taking him purely for his power, purely for his home runs. He's a perfect one-off, I think, in this sort of scenario. Or format, not scenario. So yeah, we haven't had to check pitchers because we're pretty set at the top here, and I don't want to really devote much to pitcher. Maybe in the next second pick or the pick from now. We'll see. All right, so let's see if there's anything else to talk about in scoring, in my opinions. I got open here while we wait. Kind of the round structure of this tournament. So the first round, like I said at the beginning, you get scored once a week, or your guys total their score. Whoever has the highest score, and they're the top 3 highest scoring infielders, outfielders, pitchers, and then one of those flex is the score you get for that week. And the first round is week 1 through 19 of the baseball season. So, yeah. The first week is a little bit longer with where they're starting. But, yeah, you'll see round 1 goes all the way into August. So, August, week 20 of the season starts round 2. It is the top 3 from round 1. So you are going to advance at a pretty high clip compared to some of the other tournaments they have for other sports. But then round 2 is the top 2, and that is a series of 2 weeks. So you're still scoring based on the week, your top scores for the week. And then you combine those 2 weeks. Top 2 go on to round 3, and so on. And then you win or you lose. Some hard-hitting analysis there for you. All 3 people that are watching this. But I appreciate you, all 3 of you. Even if it's to get an advantage, Brandon. All right, here we go. Let's see. What do we got? We are at pick 94. We have 4 outfielders. We could take Jorge Soler here. I wouldn't hate that. And then we're at 5, and we can just pick up another one later on. But I think we should get Justin Turner to come to us the next pick. Let's get a little weird. This is somebody I know. I think, Nez, that you like. I couldn't remember. I think it's you, Kettle Marte. He is he kind of keeps falling further and further with some of the outfielders that are getting bumped up. So yeah. Here now, I think with these 3 LA guys that I like, and even AJ Pollock potentially, I think we hold off on Justin Turner. I think we might jump back to pitcher here. Jorge Soler, I haven't seen any rumors or anything. I don't know where he might go. But we have Carlos Rodon, who signed with San Francisco, yet a 2-year deal. So I think that's a great pick at ADP. I know I said we were going to hold off on pitcher, but I think with some of these infield targets that we have and the way this draft is falling, we can kind of hold off on an infielder. And we have 4 outfielders here, which is pretty fine with me at this point. So yeah, what else can we talk about? I was kind of hoping I could pull somebody in to hang out with me tonight, but I could not convince anybody. People apparently have things to do on Saturday night. Let's check the news here, see if any more signings or trades or anything's going on. Philly signed Familia, which is whatever. Weird, I guess. I don't know. He's a reliever. More details on Nico Goodrum to the Astros. Just another whatever. Let's see. Doesn't look like we got anything else big. going on? Let's see what John Boy says. Eat supper a little later than usual. All right. Let's see. Article about Matt Carpenter. Looks like just more details on some of the deals. Let's see. We got, of course, Brandon. We draft pretty much the same way, but I typically go hyper fragile at pitcher. Yeah. I definitely think that you can draft that way, and I don't have a great reason. I just like Zach and Max, if they're healthy, are just gonna eat innings, and that's what I care about in a pitcher is the innings. Like obviously they have great K rates, and Rodon with some of his health issues in the past isn't that great for reliable innings, but there's a chance that he's more of a points per game sort of pitcher, and that's, excuse me, as I discussed everybody, that is a way that I think a lot of people draft some of this is they look more at a points per game basis, which I certainly could get behind. I guess I kind of have that in the back of my mind, knowing the players and how they tend to score. I don't know. I know some of the people over in Spike Week are all about the zero pitcher. Actually, I probably read that wrong. Brandon says he goes hyper fragile. We look at him. He's got a couple of the top guys here that I like, Berrios and Lynn, at pretty decent, a little bit of ADP discounts. Berrios has been moving up strangely, even though I think Gaussman is the number one there and definitely has a chance to, be a higher points per. Okay. Well, this is just wrong, Brandon. We don't draft Jared Kelenic at his ADP. This is a ridiculous ADP for a guy that completely struggled. I'm mostly joking here, but he just projects terribly. And I am not a guy to go for young guys just because of potential. I'm going to take Justin Turner here as the perfect example, a guy that just hits and has hit, and that's my preference. So guys like Kelenic, who, hey, my good friend Hoot 3000, welcome. It is going well. This is a typical draft for me. We got our outfielders, got some nice pitchers. At a certain point, these have all this is, I think, my 50th draft, and some of these have just really blended together. All right, we're on the clock. This is why you draft against streamers, right? We're at 120. I think we're gonna grab a pitcher here. We are going to see if Michael Kopech is available. He is. So I just got done talking about how I don't like to take shots on bats. And I don't love taking a lot of shots on high upside young guys in pitcher or injury risk. But with 8 pitchers, I usually take 1 or 2 shots at pitcher. Otherwise, I want just guys that have been healthy and can pitch innings. So in this case, we took Rodon and Kopech, who Rodon is sort of the injury risk, and even Max Scherzer to some extent, based on how he ended last season. So from here on out, I'm probably going to take really boring pictures because Kopech is, his pedigree is great. He was great in the bullpen last year. He started some games in short stints, like a couple innings, and his upside is huge. He might be the number one there by the end of the year. So I'm gonna, and he could struggle taking full starts. So from here on out, it's pretty much boring pitchers for me. I've kind of reached my risk limit in pitchers. All right. So we're pretty stacked here. So we can start. I'm feeling pretty comfortable with the size of our stacks. We have Glaber. DJ LeMahieu is gone. You'll see here. Let's go on. Let's go hunt for Glaber Torres' projection. Keep going. Oh, there he is. So I will not take him very often, or I will never take him on his own based on where I have him, and or where, when I say where the bat has him. The bat X particularly I use for hitters because it has all the StatCast data and stuff. So we're coming up here, pick 142, and then after that pick 147. I have a tough time even taking him as part of a Yankee stack when he's that far down my list. If he comes back in this next group of picks after these two, he's definitely going to be on the team, but just can't do it. I'm just going to take somebody here based on, let's see, where's our outfielders? Adam Duvall, Benintendi. Those guys are next up on my list. We might want to take an outfielder here and then fill in an outfielder in like one of the last 3 rounds for our 6th outfielder. That's kind of how I like to draft. So we might take Duvall or Benintendi here. I'd prefer Duvall because, like I said, he just hits home runs. That's all we care about. We want the weeks where he hits home runs. And based on who I've got so far, I'm pretty happy with where my stacking is at. So I'm not going to force a player from Yankees or Dodgers. I have a ton of Justin Turner, Chris Taylor, Will Smith. Oh, we missed Will Smith, or is he gone? He can't be gone. Oh, he is gone. Smart here. Safety 120. Grabbed him at, where did he grab him at? Because we're way past one. No, his name's 120. Hold on. He grabbed him kind of early. Oh, we're on the board. We're on the clock. Quit talking. All right. Trey Mancini is fine. Actually, We're going to take John Gray. Talk about boring pitchers. Going to Texas, better park, obviously. Oh, Brandon, I legit know nothing about baseball, so that makes sense. And you don't even need to know about baseball to be a good drafter. I think that's true in most fantasy sports. I'm guessing that is talking about the Kopech. Taking Kopech. Like Michael, or not Kopech. My brain's fuzzy here. For taking Kelenic. Yeah, so he took Kelenic there at ADP based on, wanting to stack Seattle, which it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. He has huge upside. His pedigree's great. And he was starting to figure it out at the end of last season. So, could be fine. I just it's not for me. All right. So I have noticed Trey Mancini has really started to fall. What is it? Go away. Can't see all my chat messages here. All right, I see the message now here. Hoot 3000. It looks like you're in my dining room. I actually am in your dining room. You should probably go look. I've been there since this morning. Same trim. Yeah, this house was built in 95, so probably similar era. we put this mint green color, but that brown is original. Do you have parquet floors also, Hoot? We have 3 different types of parquet floors, which are all reaching their wear out point. We're gonna have to do the floors, which I'm not looking forward to. This is just getting silly for Trey Mancini here. There's absolutely no reason. For him to keep falling. But we will keep getting him we'll grab him if he falls to us. There's actually a really nice little, I've done this once today, I think, in my earlier draft. There's a nice, if you get Mancini to fall, there's a nice little mini stack that you can put together with Santander, who is look at his ADP is way in the back, and he, there's all these guys that are drafted ahead of him that project worse. So that's sort of my strategy in drafting. Get these guys that people want, that project for similar amounts to guys that they do want, like Michael Brantley, for instance, who projects pretty poorly for the season. And just because he's a name that people know, here we got Trey Mancini. He did make it to us, which is excellent. So yeah, I'm going to add Santander and Austin Hayes. I think that's the end of where I like to take anybody from Baltimore. Don't even necessarily need to stack anymore at this point with my Dodgers Yankee stack. Actually, Speaking of Yankee stacks, our Gleyber Torres is still hanging around. I don't think we really need to take a pitcher here based on our early investment in pitcher. So we are going to do it. We are going to take Gleyber Torres. We are not going to feel great about it, but now we have a 3-man Yankee stack. And we have 5 outfielders at this point, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 infielders. So we're looking to add one of each. At least, probably we're pretty balanced here in our lineup. I say that, but actually looking at our infielder, it's not very balanced at all. Our infielders are pretty weak compared to the investment that we've put into them. But for my lineups, we're pretty balanced here. I have a ton of lineups like this with infield pretty weak. So my goal is to fill the flex each week with one of these outfielders for a lot of my lineups. So yeah, we're pretty good on outfielders and infielders at this point. If Chris Taylor drops a bunch, we could add him. Probably don't need to target any of these Yankees guys. There's plenty of infielders that I like and that project better than them. I guess we might get into Luke Voigt if we wait a while, but at this point, we're probably going to start filling in our last 2 or 3 pitchers next. So we'll pop the pitcher tab here. And we will probably take some very boring pitchers like Jordan Montgomery, Kyle Gibson. These are the sort of guys that the number 3s in rotations that I like to add. So yeah, who asks here what projections I use? This is what I do. I go to Fangraphs. It's longer than this, but I go to the Bat X for hitters. I go to export data, and then I go to where I think you were gone at this point, but I go to the scoring, and I just make a spreadsheet based on the data exported from the Bat X and convert that to the scoring format. And then you have to go to the bat for pitchers. And I do the same thing. Go to the bat, go to pitchers, export data, convert all the wins, the quality starts, earned runs, given up, convert that to the format scoring, and then from there I make my rankings, which is easier said than done. All right. Thank you, Brandon, for joining us. Good luck on the rest of your draft. Appreciate it. So yeah, when you upload based on just points directly, you're going to have just based on the amount of points hitters score compared to pitchers, you're going to have pitchers way down in your rankings, which is why you'll see me when I think I want to look at pitchers, I will just open up that tab by itself. All right, Shane, one of the minds over at Spike Week that is doing some of the content there and the rankings and stuff and talking. He is back. Glad you're here, Shane. But as I was saying, your pitchers, if you just upload straight projected points like I do, you really have to pay attention to the pitchers on their own because they're going to just score less over time or over the season. I don't know if that makes any sense. If you have any questions, I mean, you know where to talk to me, but you can also ask here. All right. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy if Jordan Montgomery makes it to us. If not, I'll probably go down and grab John Means. But any of these guys are fine. 167 innings last year, 192 for Kyle Gibson. Like, these are the guys that, I mean, Cucci's it doesn't really fit the bill, but Mike Minor, guys that just pitch, that are going to pitch innings. Like, they're going to have maybe an IL visit during the season or two, but they're not going to be out for long periods of time, or they haven't had a history of that. And like, I just want these guys in my lineup for weeks that other guys are hurt. They can, and like Jordan Montgomery with the Yankees, he should have good quality start and good win equity based on his team being on a good team. I could definitely see taking a shot on Tristan McKenzie at this point in the draft after he's dropped. He's been on a rise, so this is about where he was going when I started drafting. But like I said, we have too much risk for my taste at pitcher. So we're gonna get boring old Kyle Gibson here now in Philly, which is a pretty decent ballpark downgrade from Texas, but the guy just pitches. That's all I care about. Yeah, let's see. There's only 2 years of data here. Obviously, the shortened season, he didn't pitch a ton. He just pitches a lot of innings. I just care about the volume. It's boring, but it is what it is. So now we are at the point where Shane says, yeah, if people are going to be around, I will do another draft. Sure. I'm going to have to refill my cup. But yeah, I'll do another draft. Let's see. Where was I going? Yeah, so. Oh, yeah. We have 7 pitchers, 5 infielders, 5 outfielders. I'm looking to add 1 more of each. Don't really care what the order is. The projection, let's go over here to the sheet that you can't see. Look at the difference in projection between Santander and J. Pollock. So this to decide if we want to make a bigger LA Dodgers stack, or if we want to make this mini Mancini Santander stack. So yeah, it's about 100-point difference, which is enough for me to just lean towards Santander if he's still there. And just close out our outfielders. is it? 9 o'clock? Yeah. I can definitely do another draft. I mean, I'm going to draft another draft anyway, so I might as well stream it too, right? even if there's 4 of you here. I know 2 hours is kind of a long period. That is one kind of negative. I like the 2 additional rounds because it just opens up the strategy a little bit more, makes the player pool go a little deeper. But it does make each draft just that little bit longer. I haven't gotten to the point where I'm drafting 2 at once yet. But at some point, as I get a little bit bored of drafting, that'll probably happen. Can definitely do it. It does sort of hurt sometimes if your picks are near each other. But, well, to be honest, the way that these are filling, it's kind of hard to get 2 going at the same time. But that's why we're doing these streams. So the 4 of you join in, even though you're probably already watching or already drafting. All right, Santander makes it to us. Who, like, if we look at our projections, he projects the same as Mike Yastrzemski, who's taken a lot earlier. So I'm really happy to get him as a 6th outfielder, just based on his projection value to where other people of similar projections are taken. All right, so someone is silly here. We're going to take the secret weapon to this season. Late round. Last pick, or last number 6 infielder, Brandon Belt, who has the knees of a 60-year-old and the bat of a 25-year-old. I don't know what that means, but he has bad knees. He misses a lot of time because of his knees. But he can belt out some home runs. And that's all I care about in taking him. Let's see. Shane says, leave for 1 week and the ADP. Yeah, ADP has gotten a little crazy this last week. It's better, but there's still some crazy stuff. I guess we need to plan for our last pitcher here, but let's check out the comments here. Yeah, the ADP has some guys have popped up that I liked, like India and Rhys Hoskins. They're climbing up. Some of the pitchers I liked, Frankie Montas, they're climbing up. So I'm getting them less, but there's also some general buffoonery, like Santander, he's just always there, and he projects the same as Mike Yastrzemski. And let's see where Mike Yastrzemski went. He went 50 picks earlier, even more. Where do we take Santander? 214, and that's just silly. All right. Hoot says stream it. We'll stream it. The Bassett news has me thinking the Mets know something about DeGrom they aren't telling us. I think the Mets just want to win. But I had not considered that it was related to DeGrom. I thought, to me, it more meant that they don't think Carrasco has anything left in the tank. That was my initial thought, was that Carrasco, with his health, the leukemia and stuff, like, he just didn't have, they're worried about him. That was my thought, but You could be right there. Oh, just, yeah, Bassett. The bassist news. Steve Cohen has started a band. He's going to be playing bass. And Robinson Cano is going to sing because he doesn't have a place on the team. But yeah, I think it's also just they want to win. And I mean, I think at this point we could still see Frankie Montas and or Sean Manaea. Well, probably not both, right? But I think we can still lose one of those guys off the A's, and they're really comfy for the stadium they pitch in, and just being fine pitchers, better than fine, being good pitchers. All right, so we got a lot of boring pitchers that we could choose from. We got Mike Minor, who's, if he stays healthy, he's going to be the number one. Just because, are they going to bump him down in the pitching rotation with the kids that make up Casey's pitching staff? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, if he's healthy, he's the number one. He's going to get 2 start weeks. Just fine. Great. Nick Pivetta struggled in Philly, found something in Boston last year. Fine. I don't care. He's going to have win equity playing for Boston if their offense goes off like it did last year. Chris Flexen, who came from Korea last year and surprised everybody in that he wasn't bad. Again, boring. But yeah, Marco Gonzalez, same thing. Fine. Not really in on Bailey Ober. That's another kid sort of you're taking risk on. Brady Singer, it's fine. I don't love it. I do need to think about Ty Walker now with this Bassett news. Also, Ty's just a guy that pitches. Another boring pick, but he might be number 4 now. Yeah, he would be 4, right? DeGrom, Scherzer, 1A, 1B, Bassett, Bassett, and then Walker, and then Carrasco, number 5. So maybe Carrasco goes to a long reliever role. I don't know. But and here's a guy that is always around, and I forget about him every draft, is Jesus Luzardo, who is kind of a risk, but also just the guy that's going to pitch in Miami. He's kind of in between. He's a risk in that he kind of sucked last year and hurt his hand and all that. So yeah, we're perfectly fine taking Mike Minor as our 8th pitcher. So we got really happy with this draft. I'm usually happy with my drafts though, so I don't know if that's good or bad. But here we are. I'm going to, while this finishes off, I'm going to pop off the mic and use the lavatory, and then we'll fire up another draft. All right, I'll be right back. All right, we're back. We're going to draft again because that's what we do here. Or that's what I do here at this desk. We are waiting for 8 people. So, Shane, if you're not already in, jump on in. Let's see if we can get in here. Seven. Five people. All right. All right. We got a chance to fill here. I like that. Let's see what we got. Any news? More deals? My favorite, one of the best Twitter follows right here. Electric Snuff. We'll try. I'd like to get him on a stream here. I know he's been doing some drafting here. Talking about the Rockies signings today. Jose Iglesias, Scott Schebler, and Alex Colomé. This makes the Tigers offseason look like the greatest offseason of all time. This guy, love this guy. He's hilarious. You're hilarious, Nick. Let's see. Don't think we have any. Jonathan Villar turns down $6.5 million 1-year deal offer. Turned down? Okay, apparently Jonathan Villar has multiple suitors, which is something, but I guess. Do I need to think about drafting Jonathan Villar? No. Right? Does he go somewhere and is he an everyday player? No. Right? He's a bench bat. Right? Yeah. He's gotta. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if people, all 4 of you watching like this, one of you should hop on this stream with me next time so we can talk in person. I'm not talking to myself, but yeah, I'd like to do this some more. I enjoy streaming as it is. I like interacting with people, and like I said, I'm going to be drafting anyway. So maybe if I pull one person into this format, we're down to 5. That's great. If I pull one more person to this format, that'd be good enough for me. Because I find it fun. I like baseball. I like drafting, and I find it fun. And you don't really have to think too hard when you're drafting if you don't want to. You can just draft guys you like, draft your team. It's really low stakes. So you can just have some fun with it. I also enjoy the daily, like Battle Royale format, GPP type drafting format. I like drafting. I'll just keep saying it until we get 4 more people that also like drafting. It doesn't seem like there's any news. Well, while we wait for 4 people, 5 people now again. Look at if they've updated. Yes, I'm sorry. I am a terrible person. I know. I know. You don't have to tell me. I do not subscribe to Fangraphs, even though I use it all the time. I am a terrible person. And I know there's other terrible people out there watching this. There's 2 of you, and I'm guessing neither of you subscribe to Fangraphs, which we all should, because it is the best baseball resource. Either that or Taylor McGill. I don't know why there's this unhappy face with that. I don't think Taylor McGill has a spot. Yeah. Let's see. I mean, people are projecting him for 20 something starts, but that probably goes down. I think what I'm finding out is that you'll have to tell me what this was in reference to, so I know just how far this delay is. Because I don't know what this is in reference to. Yeah. Actually, what we really want to go is to roster resource here. Oh, looks like they got the trade in here already. They're on top of things. Yeah, so DeGrom, Scherzer, Bassett, Walker, Carrasco, which, yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, I feel like Chris Bassett was a 2B, 2A on the A's, so goes here. Strengthens this. Shane says daily contests help me build my bankroll. I love them. I also loved them till they got tiny, because part of why you and I were winning last year was because they overlaid a lot. No offense to you, because I'm including myself in that. There was quite a lot of overlay on the daily contests on Underdog last year. And I used it to my advantage up until it didn't. Until they got too small. Till they got too small to even, because the daily contests take time to draft, and sometimes you don't have that time, and the top prize isn't worth, even if it's going to overlay. All right, well, we'll give this a little shot here. We got 3 more people. Sorry, my wife was giving me hand signals. All right, 2 people. Let's. One person. By the time we send this out, maybe somebody will join. All right, need one person. I'm going to be done with my wine by the. Yes, I'm drinking a wine out of this glass. I'm going to be done with my wine by the time this starts. Maybe I should have some water. All right. There's definitely a lot of repeated people in these contests. Would love to get new people into this, enjoying this, into the daily MLB stuff, but it is what it is, right? Because even when you look at like DraftKings, MLB is pretty low on people's priorities. The contest sizes do not rival NFL. Obviously, NFL is huge, and NBA, even PGA is bigger than MLB on DraftKings, which is a shame. I get it. People don't like baseball. They're wrong, but they believe that they're right. And that's what matters, right? All right, here we go. We filled it. We're full. Let's see how many people I recognize here. Chris Pratt. See, we started streaming tonight, and Chris Pratt is here. I'm not going to say that I didn't do that, but I'm pretty sure I was involved with Chris Pratt getting into this. Like, amazing. Oh, here, let's put me back on the screen. No, not that big. There we go. But Shane, we're gonna have to get you on here on cam or on voice or something on one of these at some point. I think this stream is totally delayed from. I don't have any idea what this is referencing anymore. All right, but we have Numi here, which is our stream friend Shane, Spike Week rankings overseer. He's been he started to write some content over there. Definitely go check that out, spikeweek.com. I'm sure you've heard about it for NFL, but he's doing some stuff over there. So that's awesome. He takes Vlad. I think that's wrong, but I think it's Tatis over Vlad for number 2, but it's okay. It's okay. I will definitely say it's okay. But we have Brandon again, who has joined the first part of the stream. And otherwise we have we don't have a who's who line up here of people that I recognize. Some of these names have been in other drafts, but not people that I know. So that's fun. I like those. Because at a certain point, when it didn't seem like there was going to be an end to the lockout, it was drafting against the same people every draft. most of them in the Spike Week Discord. At least 4 or 5 of them each time, which it's like a home draft at that point. All right, so we're gonna try to run back here. We're gonna try to run it back. The strategy start from before. We're gonna try to do it. We're going to start with Mookie Betts. We're going to try to get Freddie Freeman on the turn, or on the way back, and we're going with the Freddie signs with LA start, which I have done. I've successfully done it once. Yeah, so now that I'm talking about it, it's not going to happen. G Houston 88 here is going to take him. If not, it'll be a minor victory. And then Freddie will sign with Atlanta, and the whole plan will be for naught. But we'll have 2 great hitters, so it won't matter. There we go. Love it. Very happy. Probably the happiest I've ever been. The problem with drafting where we're at is there's going to be big lull periods between our picks. But that's all right. It seems like we are following pretty standard start. Trey Turner goes way too soon. Rafael Devers goes way too late. That's a usual start. DeGrom, again, we get DeGrom over Cole. Burns number 3. I have like no Burns because I have his projection does not fit where he's going. So I might have to start forcing some of him at some point. We got lots of yellow. We got lots of outfielders. This guy's going to take a double infielder start. Numi, what you doing? What you going with? A George Springer. Very nice. So yeah, this is he's starting here. Oh, we'll pop this up. This doesn't get replaced. Numi is going with the coveted 3 Toronto stack start. I like it. I don't like the price on any of these guys at ADP, but I like the strategy. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I feel like they're all a little too highly valued for their projection. I mean, not flat. He's not high. He's correctly valued, but everybody else is a little bit too high. But I love the combination to start. If you're gonna go for it, go for it. Our friend Brandon starts 2 outfielders and a stud infielder. Excellent start. Like, when it comes to baseball, like there's so many injuries, there's so many unknowns. The season's so long that like it's hard to look at a draft that and hate it. Like, unless you're taking people that are injured, like Tyler Glasnow, who is continuing. Oh, it's our turn. Or if you're taking Wander Franco at 33, but that's another thing entirely. All right, we are going to grab Brandon Woodruff because I do not have a lot of Brandon Woodruff in my lineups. So I'm going to take him as my ace. So we're starting with a top guy at all positions. Pretty balanced start. From here, we are going to add another outfielder. Gallo or Buxton. I don't love Brian Reynolds at this point. All right, so we're going to take Byron Buxton, who, if you do follow my method of starting with projections and converting to points, you're probably not going to have Byron Buxton up as high as I have him ranked. I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's talked about way too much about how injured he always is. Play style, body, whatever you want to blame it on, he's injured a lot. It happens. But when he's on the field, he is scoring points. He was on a tear last year and then got injured. So he is one that I've manually moved up my rankings based on him playing mostly a full season. I just sort of added a little multiplier, taking his projected at-bats and multiplying for a more full season. And he pops up to the top. So we are happy taking him, and we pray for about the fourth season in a row that Byron Buxton stays healthy. Yo, you know what? Since we took Byron Buxton, let's take a pause here. I'll be right back. Wardrobe change. Here we go. We'll put our Twins hat on. Okay. Shane says, I'll agree on that. First draft back adjusting to these ADPs in reference to the Blue Jays prices. Yeah, Vlad's price, he's priced right, but the other guys just a little too high. So I'm not going to end up with a lot of them. But all right, there we got our Twins hat. And while we wait here, we're going to do like we did last time. We're going to set up our queue with our Dodgers that we like. Minnesota is another stack because I've started a lot of drafts with early Brian Buxton. It's another team that I've stacked quite a bit. Garver was traded today, but I wasn't really adding him to any stacks. So yeah, we have our start. We have our starting outfielders. We add our queue with the guys we like from those stacks, and then that way we see they appear here as we're drafting. This is also how you accidentally miss a draft or accidentally miss a pick, and you draft Rhys Hoskins pick 29 or something. Speaking from experience. There is usually some pretty good value on in terms of infielders. Polanco goes pretty similar to his value, but Josh Donaldson, another guy that you need to be healthy, but has, high per game scoring upside. And then don't mind mixing in a Max Kepler. I have not gotten a lot of Alex Kirilloff, but usually goes sooner than I want. All right. Here is, we're probably going to take a picture that comes back to us out of this top little group. I like all of them. There's not an infielder standing out to me. So I'm actually going to take Franmil Reyes again. Because we're boring like that. We're going to take him. He's going to hit home runs. And that's all. And then we are going to get a Kevin Gaussman back to us. Or a Lance Lynn back to us. I don't think we're going to stack Brewers pitchers. There's no real benefit of that. So, yeah. He's the top of our queue. We'll take some Lance Lynn. A guy that just pitches innings. Real boring. I mean, he gets strikeouts too, but he's just a guy. Gets quality starts. He's on a good team. Good offense. Should get some wins. I got to get a better chair for doing this. Just on a dining room chair. Shane is talking about Buxton here. He has him as his 13th ranked outfielder. When he's playing, he's first round talent. The goal isn't to predict injuries. So I agree. And the goal isn't to predict injuries, but I also don't want to take on a lot of injury risk, especially when it comes to pitcher. All right, so we are coming up. Our next pick is going to be at 82. Probably not early enough to think about jumping up our queue for the Jorge Polanco Minnesota stack. Interesting where Carlos Correa is going to go, because today, who got shortstops? Andrelton Simmons went to the Cubs. There was some rumor that they were in on Correa. Who else got a shortstop today? I'm blanking. Somebody else got a shortstop today. That was supposedly in on Correa. I can't remember. Check in some news here. None. All right. So let's see. We got our infield stacked up, ready to go for our stacks here. We've got outfielders available. Jesse Winker, who has climbed up the charts, the outfield ADP charts. There he goes to bad mugs. I wouldn't have hated taking him here. Let's see what we got for pitchers. We got my favorite pitcher for the year. Brandon takes him, of course. Love Joe Musgrove this year. If he can finally put together a whole season, he's gonna be up there. Don't love our options. I will be honest. I don't love our options. We might think about taking an Austin Meadows. Oh, I was going to say maybe we can get Brandon Lowe back, but we cannot because he is gone. So we go boring here. We go at this point in the draft, I just take the next outfielder in my queue if I don't know what else I want to do. Don't really feel like I need any of these pitchers here. So we might. What do we want to set up here? Really like to set up something here, but we might just take another outfielder. I don't think we need to jump down to Kepler at this point. Anybody here stand out? Maybe we take Ketel Marte again. We're just going to take the next outfielder, like I said. That was a tough position. I don't know what I actually wanted to do there. So we're now up to 5 outfielders. So we can kind of hold off on them till the end again. That was sort of a panic pick, I'll be honest. But with Renfroe on our team, I do like to add Adames, Urias, even Wong to our late round. And if we're feeling frisky at the end and we're going to take a shot at the end, Tyrone Taylor. Because there's a chance that Lorenzo Cain just, like Shane said, we're not trying to predict injuries, but Cain's getting up there. There's a chance he just doesn't play much this season, and Tyrone Taylor ascends to the center field position in Milwaukee. So we are super outfielder heavy early. We pick some guys who have been rising in ADP at even higher ADP. I don't love it. I don't feel great about it. But that's what we got. I would be lying if I said this wasn't the first draft that this happened. But we got guys that can slam home runs here. Reyes, Soler, Renfroe. That's all I want in my outfielders. Yeah, so I don't know if Polanco makes it back to us with who's here in the queue at infielder. People are pretty stacked at infielder, so I think he makes it back to us, and he's our next pick. If he's not, I mean, we think about a pitcher, and then the pick after taking Justin Turner for our Dodgers stack, and then waiting on Donaldson for our Minnesota stack. Pitcher, love any of these guys. Take any of them. They're all just boring guys. Boring pitchers that pitch innings. That's the theme of my drafts. Like Trevor Rogers, he's fine. Like, he could be great. But he's too exciting for me. He's not boring enough. Oh, it looks like we did miss out on Polanco, which is fine. We can get Donaldson, Kepler later. Which would be interesting if we get Kepler around his ADP and we close out our outfield pretty early. All right, so we are just going to take a pitcher here. We are going to take the top of our queue. I'm going to take Eduardo Rodriguez. Gets a park upgrade to a weak division. He should eat this year. Oh, and we fly through here. We're going to take Justin Turner at around his ADP for our infielders. And outside of our panic outfielder selections, feel pretty good. Feeling pretty good about this one. I missed this piece of news. Lewis Brinson signs minor league deal with the Astros. It's an important one. I don't like wearing this hat. I'm going to take it off. It just makes my head itch. But I got my Twins hat for my twin stack. These streams probably would be better if I had like a middle of the order draft pick. Wonder if I can request that. People talk about influencer 1-1 picks, but it really makes for a lot of downtime in between picks, which is harder to fill. Harder to fill the downtime. Maybe somebody can join me next time. I'm sort of begging at this point. Shane. And Kepler goes above ADP. So we're definitely not getting him. He's taken 120. I think he's got about 140. So he is rising. All of these mid-tier outfielders are rising in ADP. So what are we looking at here? Probably want to grab a pitcher or two here in these next two picks. Pitcher and an infielder. Still got a lot of guys here that I like. We can take another shot on Michael Kopech if he's still around. I have to add to my thing because he does not project super well in the bat, but has some great upside. Ooh. So depending how this goes here, we probably will grab him and one of these boring pitchers. Don't really feel a super big need to grab Donaldson here. 30 picks ahead of ADP. Which could be good, could be bad. All right, two of our boring guys got taken, Eovaldi and Framber Valdez, which is fine. We still got a couple other ones here. But we're hoping to get Kopech again here at 130. And Logan Gilbert goes ahead of Kopech, ahead of bat. I don't understand. I just don't understand the Logan Gilbert thing. All right. And we're back up. So we are going to take Chris Bassett, our boring pitcher. And now we have a very nice staff to start. We got if you didn't have Corbin Burns on the team, we got a couple of number twos in Woodruff and Lynn. We have a boring Eduardo Rodriguez and Chris Bassett, and we have an upside pitcher in Kopech. So very happy with this pitching staff as it is laying out. Still got this weird outfield, but we got some good sluggers here. And now we will fill in our infield. I think next time I do this, I'm going to force myself to be different because I just keep doing the same thing. Outfielders early, get a couple of good pitchers, fill in from there. So let's check out what Numi's gone. So he has his Toronto start as we were talking about. And then he took Aaron Nola, which is a fine first pitcher. And then he went a little heavier on the infielders than I would like at that point, but nothing wrong with taking Austin Riley, Corey Seager. He fills in his outfielder with Kyle Schwarber. Fills in a couple Charlie Morton's sort of in between a risk and not. He's a dude that just pitches innings, but he also is coming off of a broken foot. So he's sort of an in-between guy that I'm happy to get around ADP, which is where Numi took him here. So that's pretty good. And then he took a upside play in Verlander. Take Jared Walsh, who I have absolutely none of. Charlie Blackmon, Herman Marquez, and he took Willie Adames from RQ. which is fine. We don't need him. We have Hunter Renfroe. We don't really need a Brewer stack. I am going to have to ask you about this Charlie Blackmon, though, Shane. Colorado? Is that, if your answer is Coors Field, that's fine. That's just, the team's going to be so bad. If they get rid of Story, it's just going to be so bad. But Coors Field? I'll take that as an answer. I'll take it as an answer. It just hasn't come to me. All right, so here we are. We are going to fill out our stacks here, our Dodgers and our Twins 3-man stacks. We're going to take Josh Donaldson. And then when it comes back around, we're going to take Will Smith. And then we can reevaluate where we are at. Take Will Smith. Excellent. All right. So we have our 3-man stacks that pair with our first 2 outfielder picks, which is what I like to do. So we got Mookie, Justin, and Will. And we got Byron, Donaldson, and I was lying. We don't have a third Minnesota player. So, I was lying. I was thinking we got Polanco because I was talking about Polanco. So let's see here. What do we want to go from here? So we just took Clevenger, which is another upside play that I like. Recently, thanks to talking to someone else, talked me into getting in on Clevenger at 160. That's a great pick. So he was on my radar for our second shot at pitcher because we took our first shot at Kopech. Our second shot at pitcher might just come as a last pitcher. There's not really a person I love to take a shot on injury or upside wise left in the player pool. Because a lot of these guys that I don't mind, like an Adbert Elzele or Christian Javier, or just these guys at the end that you can get at the end. We're going to add Luzardo here before we forget about him. Like every other draft. We are sort of at a standstill here. You can kind of go in any direction. That's not what standstill means, by the way. That was the wrong word that I wanted to use. So have some more wine so I get more confused. Kike Hernandez is another guy that has just been falling in ADP. And I think I might just take him here. Or maybe we take I think we're going to make our Dodgers stack bigger. We're just going to make this the super Freddie goes to LA Dodgers stack. Because none of these guys lose out with Freddie going to LA that we took. He's not going to take playing time from any of these guys. Okay, maybe he'll take some potential NLDH playing time from Will Smith. I'll take that back. But Will Smith is very good. It's a hot take right here. It's on fire. He's on fire. Saying that. All right, we're going to take Taylor. We're going to make our super Dodger stack. We are at 555. So we are going to look at adding a boring pitcher here. Maybe we take. Here's someone I have Hyun-Jin Ryu is gone. So we still will have 0 of him. Okay. We're going to jump ahead a little bit here and add John Means, who should be the number 1 in Baltimore, which isn't saying much at all, but there's a chance that he has a 2-start week that helps us in the playoffs. That's all. Like, you can factor in the change in the outfield. You can factor in maybe he'll be playing, I was going to say a bad team, but that division is stacked. But I don't know. It's just all about the 2-star weeks for John Means. Like, he's an injury risk, but not really a risk. Just he's not great. he's the ace on a staff of minor league pitchers, and he's not that great. People like to play him in DFS and stuff, but he's an all-star once. He just never put it together. But he could have 2 starts in a playoff week because he's the number 1 pitcher. All right, so we got 6 pitchers, 5 infielders, 5 outfielders. We are looking to fill in 1 more outfielder and 1 more infielder, 2 more pitchers. I probably want a boring pitcher here and then try to get like a Luzardo after that as our 8th pitcher. As far as our targets for pitching go. And then infielder, not a Dodger, probably. We'll take somebody that drops to us. Who we got left for outfielders? Got the usual group here. These guys are always hanging out. I think this next pick, because I keep missing out on him, I'm going to jump my queue and jump ADP and grab Jesus Luzardo, who broke his hand last year getting mad at video games. I don't know what risk level that puts him at. I don't know if that's an injury risk or an intelligence risk or, well, I mean, video games are frustrating. Maybe it's perfectly fine. But he did struggle after he got traded to Miami and then started putting it together a little. There's a little bit at the end of the season. So we're just going to grab him here because I don't have enough of them. The pedigree's there. The skills have been there in the minors, and and he's Miami is probably going to suck, and they'll probably pitch him. So the upside's there. And I'd like more exposure to him. John Nocht here has 8 infielders. I believe he is probably auto drafting. So, after my picks here, for the few of you that make it into the third hour of this live stream, watching it back, which is probably not going to be anybody, I'll show you how to not be like John Nocht. All right, so Luzardo, get in here. And then we are going to take my friend and yours. Mostly just my friend. We're going to take Brandon Belt here. Add him to every draft that I do. And we need a pitcher and an outfielder. And for those of you that are new to Underdog and have somehow lasted through an absolutely dry, boring, sarcastic humor live stream into the third hour, or somehow come back and watch this and fallen asleep, I don't know. And like this is a scenario. You're like, oh, I might be interested in MLB best ball. Somehow you find this video. This is the long shot scenario. It's not loading. So this is going really well. But you can set your limits. When you go to the rankings, there's a tab. Oh, no, it works. Okay. It's fine. Go to your limits. Set your limits. So if you get into an auto draft scenario because your dog is got rice-filled diarrhea, that's a scenario from today that I dealt with. This is going off the rails, but we're going to continue driving it off the rails. If you have that scenario and you can't draft and you're auto drafting, you need to have your position limits set. You do not want 8 infielders. All right. Got a couple of slow drafts here. I think this is us here. Yeah. All right. We're down to 1 viewer. Somehow someone is still watching this. But if you come to this later and you like fall asleep at the beginning and you wake up and you're like, oh, what's going on? And your headphones are on and you're like, hear it, set your limits. Set your limits. So you don't end up like John Nocht. John Nocht 14. You don't need that many infielders. You are not going to do well. All right. Enough blabbering. Oh, no, that's what we're doing still here. We got to blabber some more. We need an outfielder and a pitcher. So, can I probably take one of these boring pitchers at the top of my queue when the time comes? But in terms of outfielders, who do we want? I don't know. Based on who I have for my power hitting outfielders, I am going to take one of my favorite last outfielders, I think, in Harrison Bader, who should play center field for St. Louis all year. Should have a ton of at bats. He'll be real low in the order if they are a healthy team, but he's going to get at bats. He can steal bases. He can hit home runs. He probably won't score a lot, but for the weeks that these other guys are not hitting their home runs, the hope is that he is filling in an amount of points. Not a large amount of points, just an amount of points. You don't need to win every week. I feel like that's something that is way different. And now that I'm saying this at the end of the live stream, maybe we address this earlier in the next one. But you don't need to win every week in baseball, basketball. Unlike NFL, where you want to win, you want to be up there top 5 most weeks. Let's fill in we'll definitely take Mike Minor, Nick Pivetta, Chris Flexen, any of these guys, any of these boring guys as our last pitcher. But yeah, unlike NFL, where you need to be up there almost every week, you do not need to win or be top 5 every week in baseball. You want to be most, but it's not necessary to win every week. So sometimes you just need guys like Mike Minor and Harrison Bader to score points, any amount of points in a week, rather than dropping too far behind where you're getting a bunch of zeros. All right. Well, I see, according to the statistics, there is one person still watching, which is probably just me in a tab that I left open. But I appreciate the people that stopped by, and I am going to be done drafting for the night. Thank you for joining me. We will do this again. Hopefully I can get somebody to talk to you so you don't have to just listen to me talk. But until next time, have a wonderful baseball, best ball season. I got to work on an outro. All right. Bye.